Imagine, states don't exist yet. Banks, credit cards, even the concept of price hasn't been named. You have too many apples, and your neighbors have that sharp stone axe you need. You go and offer the apples, and you get the axe. Simple, right? That famous barter economy that elementary school books taught us. But let me tell you a secret. Anthropologists and historians have been saying for years that such a world never actually existed. Humanity never built great civilizations solely on a pure barter system. Barter was not a solution. It was a nightmare. The invention of money wasn't just to find a medium for exchange, but to solve the greatest problem in the human mind, trust. Why did barter work? Because it ran into that cursed rule called double chance of desires. You want an axe for the apples offered, but the man with the axe wants leather clothing, not apples. And the man with leather clothing wants a spearhead, not apples. As this chain stretches on, your apples rot, your wife goes hungry, and civilization says it's all in place. Worse, who decides how many apples an axe has? Where there are no standards, there is no justice. This complexity, this madness, drove a radical quest. Everyone, everywhere, had a third part to the valuable acceptance contract. When we receive money, gold coins immediately come to mind. But our ancestors were far more creative. The first coins were sometimes seashells, sometimes a handful of salt, sometimes massive, immovable blocks of stone. Why seashells? Because they were rare, durable, and difficult to counterfeit. But things got complicated with examples like livestock money. How do you make the top of a cow? In a world where values couldn't be measured, everything was still very slow. Until those mysterious laws, that is, metal, were noticed. Gold and silver. Why these? Because they aren't eaten, drunk, or used for shelter. In fact, biologically, they are completely useless. But what makes them special is that they set the limits of nature. Gold is not infinite and cannot be counterfeited. Most importantly, gold can freeze time. An apple rots, a cow dies. But gold weighs the same even after 1,000 years. By inventing money, humanity actually discovered how to protect its labor against time. Now you could encapsulate the value of the fruit you harvested today in a piece of metal to use years later. This was the first time machine of its time. Around 600 BC, in the heart of Anatolia, the Lydians took this process to its peak. The Lydian king stamped the famous lion seal on the metal. This seal said, "The weight and security of this metal are under my guarantee. You don't need to weigh it. Trust me." At that very moment, the greatest psychological revolution in human history occurred. We began to trust not the object itself, but the authority over the object. Now hold on tight. Most people think that money originated from barter, but let me surprise you. Debt is older than money. In Mesopotamia, Sumerian rulers recorded the wheat being transported to temple granaries on indigo tablets. Money was actually invented to simplify these complex debts. So before we invented money, they lived in the memories of their friends. When money arrived, we put our memories in our pockets, having to remember who owed whom, because the metal in our pockets told everything. The result of barter was essentially the end of humanity's enduring personal trust. You used to help your neighbor because you trusted them. Now, thanks to sealing, you can trust someone you don't even know. Money became the greatest social network humanity possessed. Those pieces of paper in your pocket today, or the digital numbers on your phone. They are all descendants of that Lydian lion. Money isn't actually a physical object. It's a collective dream. We give it a limited period of value. And if one day everyone wakes up from that dream at the same time, that's when we return to the dark, complex, and decaying changes of barter. So, what will the next revolution be? We've moved from gold to paper to digital. What's next? History whispers to us. The object changes, but the need for security never does. If you enjoyed these journeys, subscribe. History tells us where we came from, and finance tells us where we're going. Stay tuned.